and we will open it up for questions, and we'll start with Troy Hutchison. Go ahead, Troy.
So, Coach, I know there isn't much of a turnaround till to tomorrow's game, but what have you seen out of the film you've seen against BYU? What do they do well?
Well, BYU, very experienced team. They've been to the tournament plenty of times over the years. Really good guard play. They move the ball well. They spread the floor well. They shoot the three well. And also, not only their offense is potent, but their defense is one of the best in the country. Their opponent field goal percentage, they're coached really well. So just a really good team overall that we definitely have a lot of respect for.
And then Harding, I believe she had 28 points in the last round. And when you look at the stat sheet, she only took 17 shots. So it's a very effective 28 points. What goes into slowing down a player like her?
Well, I think just that was a really big game for her. I think just slowing them all down. I think, their guard play, they're very efficient from the guard position. I mean, they have two guards shooting over 40% from the field from twos. That's really good. And they're not taking easy shots. So I think making them work for every shot. But I think our defense is really aggressive. I think that some of our defense can kind of disrupt some of their offense. Definitely have to guard the 3-point line well. And, just kind of do what we do. But they're good. But we're used to playing against really good guard and post play from the Pac-12. So I hope that we're prepared.
PJ Brown, go ahead.
So Adia, let's go back just a little bit to yesterday, and we didn't get a chance to talk about Kate. How important was Kate's performance yesterday for you?
It was extremely important. Having Kate just be a presence inside. The first couple of shots of the game, like she didn't get calls, wasn't really going up strong, and then she did a good job of making adjustments, staying aggressive. Very important when Kate's aggressive and scoring inside, and then Trinity's aggressive and scoring inside, we're just so much better. And then Lauren came off the bench. Wish I could have found some more minutes for Lauren, but when they are all a threat inside, it just makes us that much stronger. I always talk about, for us to be successful, we need balance. And then we have Ari distributing the ball and taking really good shots, running good offense. Bendu driving to the basket. Shayna coming in, attacking the basket. Helena shooting threes. We're just at our best when those 8 are getting involved. And when I looked at the stat sheet, Sam played a really good game, but she didn't score. Sam is such a good player. She can have 6 assists, rebounds. She played a little bit of 1 yesterday. So she played the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And impact the game and help us win without having double digits in scoring, because she does so many other things. So it was just an overall really good game by our team.
And how important is Kate just in general for you to win? I mean, when we look back, she was just getting her groove going against, Oregon and Washington State. And then the whole team had a little bit of a offensive, got stagnant, right? And now she comes back and she has this great game when you really need her, when it matters the most.
Yeah. So, this is the time of year. No one remembers how you start. They always remember how you finish, I always say. So people stepping up now, it's the biggest time of the year. This is, Trinity played an awesome game. Kate played an awesome game together. They have, I think 33 points it was. That's pretty phenomenal for us for balance. So they have to continue to do that. And I think it shows a lot what people are made of. Because when you can come in these settings and play well, it's just, I think, shows a lot about your character, our team, where we're at. Stony Brook was a good team that we made look bad, but they're not a bad team. And I think that we have a really good opponent tomorrow. We have to, step up even more and play better. But if we play offense and defense like the way we did yesterday, I think we're capable of beating anybody in the country.
And how do you think that matchup will be for the post tomorrow? They have the 6'7" girl, and she was up for Defensive Player of the Year as a semifinalist. Sorry.
She's obviously really long, obviously 6'7", just takes the space, uses her hands really well. She's actually a good defender. Like she contains pretty well. She's smart. She's a senior. They're an experienced team. So I think for us, we need to get her in transition, get her on pick and pops, just put her in a little different situations where I think we have an advantage. But also they're 4-player. They usually have 4 guard-like players. So when you play a lot of schools like, Gonzaga and BYU and just really good schools like that, their 4s aren't going to be 6'3". They're going to be 6 foot versatile rebounders, pick and pop, drive it, more guard-like. So the good thing is we faced a lot of fours like that in the Pac-12, but they're just a good team. They have great guard play. They play hard. They're blue collar. They're scrappy. They're not afraid. They're relentless. Then they have a big 6'7" girl inside that alters shots, and it's pretty mobile and good on her feet. So they're a good team, and we're gonna have to play well to beat them.
Ryan Kilp here.
Trinity was talking yesterday about how her and Kate just need to be more consistent. I mean, what do you think the key to that is?
I think that there's a couple things. We also have to be consistent in getting them the ball. So I think there's a combination. They have to post hard, want the ball. When they get the ball, they have to, make good plays with the ball, not force it, take good shots. But then it's twofold because then the guards have to get them the ball. So I think that yesterday I was intentional about running a lot of plays that I specified. This is a post play. This is to get Kate the ball in this situation. This is a play to get Trinity the ball in this situation, and just being intentional about it. But then the players were able to execute it. I think in the past we'd say that and then it wouldn't be executed. So I think that I just said there's a different sense of focus for our team the last 2 weeks. There's a difference, like hunger. There's a different motivation, and you can see it. And I think everybody realizes we look around the room, we know we need each other. And so I think they're playing like that because we were playing selfless. We were playing together. We were playing at another level yesterday, I thought. And I think, like I said before, we're going to play our best basketball. I just can feel it. I can see it. And I can see it the way our team is mentally prepared.
Yeah. And I was going to ask, you go from playing pretty much all Pac-12 schools the whole season, and then now you get into the tournament, you play 2 mid-majors. I mean, I imagine that also makes you feel very prepared going into these games.
Well, it does. But when I look, so it definitely was Stony Brook. But when I look at BYU, they're more of like a Pac-12 school. So, they are a mid-major, but they're a really good mid-major that beats Pac-12 in different conferences every year. So I don't consider them, like when I think of Gonzaga, BYU, those are really good schools that they're capable of beating Pac-12 teams. So I'm confident in just our preparation against anyone in the country because our conference is so tough. But they're a good team. And I think what's unique about them is 2 all-conference guards that are really tough, and like they're not afraid, they're physical, and they go to the basket really hard. They both shoot over 40% from the 2-point range. They're in the low 30s from 3, but they're like relentless driving. They're not afraid. They take it in. So we got to guard them. They're a good team, and I think they play about 7 people, but they're really good from the 3-point line overall. So if we let them get hot, it's going to be hard. But I think that we have an advantage with our quickness, with our defense, and I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be whoever shows up and wants it more tomorrow because we both play hard, and we're both solid defensive teams.
Troy Hutchison.
Going back to the last game against Stony Brook, Helena went 2 for 3, I believe, from the 3-point line, but she seemed to be shooting the ball with a lot more confidence, a lot of quick shots, and in rhythm of the offense.
Well, yeah, I think just the message that the team and myself has been saying to Helena, she's able to take those quick shots. She has the green light. I don't mind if she pulls up those shots in transition because she's a great shooter. So I encourage her to do that. Like, I don't encourage everybody to do that because those aren't the shots I want, but I want her taking those to be aggressive because she's never going to take 10 bad shots. Like if she takes 1 or 2 rush shots, I can live with that because I want her taking those shots because it spreads our floor. Just her attempting the shots spreads the floor. So, she took him in transition. I was proud of her. I thought second half she wasn't as tough. I thought she went up a couple of times, kind of soft, and she was on siesta for a few minutes in the game there. But she's such a good player. And the funny thing is, she's not only a shooter, she's a player that can drive it. She's a phenomenal passer. So there's so many things, even when she's not scoring, she's doing, but she's capable of scoring and doing those things. So I was happy to see her come back because she hadn't scored in I think 7 games or something.
And then a few weeks ago, you were asked about your Sweet 16 team from 1998. I was wondering, do you keep in contact with any of your teammates, and have they sent you encouraging messages throughout this run?
Yeah, so when I'm asked about it, it was a long time ago. I've been on 500 teams since then. So I rack my brain oh gosh, remember all that. Because it feels like a long time ago. But yes, it's funny because I had an alumni call 2 weeks ago. So had my whole team on, I think we ended up having 8 or 10 people on the Zoom call from that team. So Marty Alexander, she's in Italy. She was on the call. We had Felicity, Risha, Lisa Griffith. We were all on the call together, so it was pretty cool. So I actually just talked to them, and so I'm getting a lot of messages on Facebook and Twitter and DMs, just wishing us good luck. And everybody's just so proud of the program. It's came so far along. I think that most of these people were out of touch with the program for 10, 12 years, kind of like how I was when I wasn't here. But I'm really trying to be intentional about connecting with players, and I want this to be the type of school, or I want Arizona to be, where everybody comes back, returns, talks to the team, where there's relationships and like helps with jobs. Or Janelle is one of my friends. She's in LA. She's a sheriff. Gigi Sweet's famous VJ. There's just so many different connections, and so I want to create those relationships where we can use alumni and just have alumni come back every couple of years. I think it's really important.
And what's the one thing you remember most about that team?
We were scrappy. We were like, and it's funny because we were a full court pressing. I was at the top of the press, run and jump, like, so very similar to how we are now. That's what's kind of ironic. So everything's kind of parallel. The story of how I built it, very similar to Jonah when I came. The way we play, Joan was a player's coach that had a connection with me, a lot like Ari and I and Kate and I and Sam and I. So just aggressive, blue collar, scrappy. We'd make it look ugly sometimes, but just played that type of defense. And that's kind of what we're doing right now.
And lastly, what do you remember from your guys' tournament run?
I remember not being too excited about playing UConn in the Sweet 16 because it was like, oh damn. Back then UConn was good still. Yeah, I just remember just having a good team. We changed the program. I don't remember like actual like feeling in the tournament because I've played so much basketball since then, but I just remember being excited. When I look at the tournament now, it's awesome. I think now it's feeling more like the tournament. But in a normal setting, like when we were with Washington at the Final Four, it's not like how it looked now. Like today we went on like a team boat ride, but like normally there'd be thousands of people on the street. It feels like the tournament because it's like all the people. It was kind of weird being in a tournament in a gym with like, probably there was maybe like I'd say Stony Brook probably had 100 people. We probably had 75. They maybe had 200 or 150, but like no one else in the gym. That's kind of weird in the tournament. Like it feels like it because of all the logo, just all the way it looks, but usually that's a packed arena. So I'm just sad that we're not experiencing that, but I'm fortunate that we're playing. And so far from what I know, there's been no cases here, in our bubble, and it's been successful so far. So I think it's a really good job of the NCAA, creating this environment where we can actually play. Despite all the other controversy, because there's a lot going on.
Alec White?
Yeah, now that you guys have been here for a few days, what's just been the daily routine of when you're able to practice and how meals are spaced out? How are you guys just adapting to being there?
Well, it's changed. We've been here, I think, a week now. It's changing every day. So, like, we don't really know the schedule. Like, we just found out last night what the schedule is for today and then the game day. So it just kind of changes. But like today, we woke up, breakfast, we went to practice. We came back, we tested, and then we went on like a 45-minute boat ride, and then we'll have like dinner in about 30 minutes. So that's been kind of how it is. Today's a little busier because we got to actually go on every team went on a boat ride at different times. So that was cool to get out. But before, it's like testing and back to the hotel, and you're not really allowed to go anywhere. We've organized the last few days walks where it's at like, let's say we set it for 2:30. The whole team has to go on this route and this walk together. That's been nice to get out, but usually only like 4 or 5 people go. The rest are sleeping. But we've tried to do a couple things like order stuff, like we ordered Starbucks, but it came like 2 hours late because it's just everybody's kind of having the same thought. So those things have been challenging, but it doesn't feel like we're in complete lockdown at all. But it's just kind of nice to get out and like take a walk because you get a little bit of fresh air and just kind of breaks the day up.
And then going into the Pac-12 tournament, you said that you felt a different intensity from the team, and then that was shown in the Washington State game, and then it wasn't carried over to the UCLA game. Mm-hmm. Do you have the confidence that after Stony Brook now that you're sensing that confidence that this time it can carry through multiple games?
Yeah, because I think we're just hungry, we're focused, we understand this is one and done. I think the UCLA game, I thought our defense was good. I thought we just kind of got beat up a little bit. I think they were just the more physical team, wanted it a little bit more, and we didn't rise up to that, which I was surprised because that's not how we responded. But I think that we've learned from that. I think we're just more improved. We worked on some things. We've worked out some things, talks about some things, worked some different rotations. So I think we're just more prepared mentally also. I think mentally is a big thing. I think at the end of the Pac-12, I think everybody was just kind of tired and not knowing what to expect next. But I think now we're ready and hungry and excited to be here and thankful that we're in the tournament. We didn't get to do this last year. So I think there's a different sense of appreciation and focus.
PJ Brown?
And what was it like yesterday to play in that venue in the Alamo Dome? You know, and that's the court, one of the courts that will be used for the Sweet 16 going on. So that you have, you know, what was it like, and what's it like to have that experience up front?
Well, it's huge and it's like spread. So I guess a football dome, I'm assuming. Yeah, it is. But it's like huge, and it's like the court is like split. So it doesn't really feel like you're in a basketball gym, but it's like big and spread out. So it doesn't have all the crowds. So like you only see a couple people, so it feels kind of dead. But I think just having the experience playing there, and I was fortunate, and we were fortunate, we didn't have to drive, because some people had to commute like an hour and a half to a game. So when you have to go practice there the day before, it's far. And so I was just thankful that we're in San Antonio. We were like 5 minutes away. So that was like the good thing. And even though tomorrow we're at UTSA, having played there and possibly being able to go back, I think that's an advantage. But also tomorrow we're driving 20 minutes, not an hour and a half. It's a big difference when you're driving an hour and a half, just for your legs and your rest. And much better to be in your bed for the hour and a half than driving. So, but it's just huge. It's old and it's huge. And it's, it was okay. It would be much different if it was like full, like just the whole vibe. It's like separate, so you kind of can hear the other game, or you see it when you're walking into the gym. You go on this big red carpet and you like see the other game, then you go to the other side. But then it's not like there's a lot of fans or anything. There's probably more officials and people working than the fans. So it's just different. But we had President Robbins, we had Dave Hickey, we had some of our executive staff. So that was cool to see.
And tomorrow, obviously you did a walkthrough today on that court. What was that like?
No, we didn't do a walkthrough on that court.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, so today I had to think about that. So we were at the convention center, which is like right across the streets where we test. So we had a practice in a ballroom. And so we don't get to go on that court till shoot around tomorrow. So in a perfect world, I would have practiced on that court today. Yeah. Like, cause that's, it's not good when you just play there the first day, but at least we get a shoot around. Because if we didn't have a shoot around, it'd be a lot harder, just because the depth perception, everything's different.
Okay. Troy Hutchison.
There we go. I was just wondering, what did you think of the Pac-12's early success so far in this tournament? I believe only one team lost, and even in that loss, Washington State kept it close and almost won that game as well.
Well, yeah, and Washington State hadn't been here in a really long time. So I think as we've had a lot of success, but it's a really good conference. It's not a surprise to me by any means, because like our conference is tough. And so I think we're really prepared, beating up on each other for 22 games, but we actually didn't play 22, but whatever, 17 to 22. I think Stanford was the only one that played the full. I don't think they I think they played the full 22, didn't they, or 21? So, I mean, it's a lot against top teams in the country. I think, so we're prepared. I think there isn't any other conference like ours. So that's why I think you see us every year have more success in the tournament.
Ryan Killip here.
So we always talk about how, making shots open things up for Aerie, but what about the posts as well? Like, how much does hitting shots just open things up for them? And when your team is hitting shots, what differences do you see from defenses and how they defend your posts?
Well, I think everybody kind of plays this the same. They're really focused on Aerie. I think the difference is we didn't settle. So if you looked like to take like 10 threes at one point and not take a whole lot of threes the first half, we're just better because that's not our identity. We're not good if we're jacking up like 50 threes because that's not who we are. There's been a couple games the whole year where we just got hot, different, but we're not good at doing that. And then we're not at our best when like Aerie and we're settling. Now it's different. Sam and Helena takes some threes, but when we're settling for step back threes and stuff, we're not good. And we're better at, we don't have to take that three, but we can take that reversal and drive it and get the shots that we want. So we talked a lot about that the last few weeks, taking the shots that we want when we want on our terms. And then I think just hitting those shots does loosen up, but I don't think we loosen them up by making threes, but we're really good in transition. We force them to turn the ball over a lot. We're at our best when we're forcing turnovers and creating easy offense. Then our other offense comes easier, but when we're not doing that, we're just not that good. That's just our identity. We're never going to be a walk up the court and be a great quarter offensive team. That's just not who we are. That's not the personnel we have. We don't have the offensive skill to do that. So we're good when we're going to like create stuff off defense, create early scoring opportunities off of transition. That's kind of our personnel and what we do well. So at this point, we're not trying to change it. Like I wasn't going to work the last 2 weeks only on offense and think that all of a sudden we're going to have this great offense that's fluid and just start scoring tons of points. That's not who we are. So we're better at, we're going to lock you up on defense. We're going to create some turnovers. We're going to go get some easy layups, and then we're going to get some more confidence in our shots. So that's kind of what we have to do to win games. And that's just our personnel and who we are.
And just one last thing. Trinity was saying yesterday that you guys are, I think she said 14-0, and it was like some stat that I think it's when one of them scores in double figures. Or can you just, and she said that you tell her that. Can you just clarify like what stat she's referring to?
Yeah, well, I'll give you guys a couple of them. Hold on, let me see if I have them right here. I gave them a few stats, just like how when we have a certain amount of assists, we're 14-0. I have some of them right here. Hold on, let me look them up real quick. So like there was just some, I don't have them probably. Some good stats, like, right. Sorry. Okay, like some stats, like we're 13-0, we have 10 or more assists. You know, we're 14-2 when the posts have a certain amount of shots. We're 11-0 for over 40% from the field. We're 9-1 and we're winning the rebound battle. So I gave them some of these stats. Like we're 14-1, we have more fast break points. So that's like how we're good. But that's all goes back to the creating offense and early scoring opportunities, because that's who we are. We're never going to go out and start shooting 45% from the three. That's not Arizona, and that is not our personnel. But when we have, so the theme is though, when we have balance, when the ball goes inside and they score, then we get assists and we're sharing the ball. We're not taking early contested shots. We're moving the ball. That's when we're our best. Every game that we won, every game we've had tremendous amount of success, the ball moves and we're very unselfish and we're very, we're playing for each other. We're like creating shots for each other. An example, Shayna came in, she drove, got 4 people, hit Helena for a 3. Like that's when we're at our best, like making the extra pass. And our players did such a great job of being intentional about that, playing with each other. And we'll be doing that. I just think that they want to win, and they all know that we can't win another way, because when we're not doing that, we're taking low percentage shots that we're not making. So I think that's why I said, I think you'll see our best basketball ahead of us.
All right. Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.